to ask because a lot of my viewers are from a deconstructing Christian background, and you had a very in-depth experience with Jesus. Could you share with us? I'm really curious if you learned anything about who he is and what his role was when he came here, and how we can relate to him.
Yes, I was actually shown his role and when it was created.
He's talking about Jesus.
During this time, and I can't explain to you whether I've often thought of this, was I actually there at the time, or was it so vivid to me that I felt like I was there? But I remember God, the Heavenly Father, coming to this huge assembly of people, and he said that he needed someone to go to earth to take the truth. Everyone, he said, and he was telling everyone's getting excited about it, and he was on talking about it, and he said, but this person will have to be crucified in order for it to make an impact on the earth.
Ever notice in these near-death experiences, every one of them lack utter holiness and majesty of God and Jesus Christ. That majesty, that utter awe and holiness, meaning God being complete in himself, God being whole in himself, and we being woefully nothing without him. Ever notice in these near-death experiences, they lack this. It's all lovey-dovey, woo-woo, with a little pissy God who don't want to fall down and worship. Asking people in heaven, who wants to go and be crucified to show us the truth? Doesn't the Bible say that God planned this from the foundation of the world, that Jesus would be crucified for us? He already planned it at the beginning of time.
Earth.
It gets worse.
No one was volunteering. It was like, all right, everybody. And I remember looking around, looking for the volunteer. Nobody's volunteering. And Jesus was off to the side, standing near a beautiful patio type thing with
a patio in heaven. I would think if it was truly heaven, it would be much, much, infinitely more grandiose than a piss poor patio or tables and chairs. So if this is real, why isn't it much more majestic, much more awesome?
Rails and step down structure beside him, and he was sitting on it. Standing by him was this other man, and they were talking. And then, of course, when God came into the room, they stopped and they paid attention. And then Jesus volunteered, and then God said, "I will need someone who will have to be his accuser." And there was a sigh because nobody wanted that. Nobody wanted that.
When does God ever need anybody or anything?
And Judas, the man that we know as Judas, was standing the friend of Jesus. He put his arm on Jesus' shoulder and he says, I will follow the Father's will. Because Jesus needed to have someone to betray him so that his word would last forever on the earth. And the Father said, you know that your plan is going to hurt as well. And he says, yes, Father, I know that. And I just remember listening to that and thought, that makes sense. It makes sense because I'm standing there listening to it. And to be honest with you, if I were bold enough or if it was my place enough, which I'm sure it wasn't my place, I would want Jesus's I would want that for Jesus. And
so basically, before time, God is saying to Jesus, God is saying to an assembly of people in heaven, who wants to go be crucified to show the way of the truth to humankind. And nobody volunteers until Jesus volunteers. Then he says, okay, I will meet somebody to betray Jesus. The man who would be known as Judas steps forward. And then after that, after they play the parts, Jesus crucified, after Judas betrays him, they go back to heaven and live and they live happily ever after. Listen.
So that is how that came about. So he came to earth to correct some of the teachings that were at that time. And if you know the laws of Moses, the New Testament, a lot of that is history, but I stay on the New Testament. Jesus went there to clarify and to help people understand that. Now, he couldn't go there and he didn't say, I'm doing away with the laws of Moses. He didn't have the right to say it.
So basically, Judas betrays Jesus. And before, in his pre-incarnate life, Judas agreed to betray Jesus. And after he betrayed Jesus, he'd come to heaven, live with Jesus forever and ever in heaven. Okay, we got a problem. Why then did Jesus say, but woe unto that man who the Son of Man goeth, as it was written of him, but woe unto that man by who he is betrayed. Good word for that man had he never been born. And then in Acts, when it says Judas by transgression fell that he might go unto his own place. So right there, now right here, this experience is bull. At best, it's a sweet illusion created by the dying mind, so that she can believe in her mind as she's dying that she will get to live forever and ever. And at worst, this near-death experience, Betty Eadie, embraced by the light, is full of the devil. Demons and devils and the devil.
Anything, I was already there. People had been practicing that for years. But instead, it went on to say what it was instead, which is actually the opposite of much of what was being taught back then. I said, then is the Bible 100% true? He says, nothing that man can put his energy and his finger to is perfect. And he just let it go at that. And that is, to me...
I have a question, Betty Eadie. You know, if everybody's going to be saved, universalism, what about the devil and his angels? Are they going to be saved? Why does God love all of mankind, but not love all the angels? And why would he not save the devil and his angels? Why is it so man-centered? I thought God is holy. It's all about God, not man, not all about man. That's the problem with that. That's the problem. I'm perplexed. I'm distressed. This woman actually looks demonic. She looks like she's half dead. She looks like a zombie. Ugh. But like I said, that's utter blasphemy to suggest that God needed Judas to betray Jesus, and that after he betrayed Jesus, they would live it up forever and ever and ever in heaven afterwards. It kind of sounds like the Gospel of Judas. You know, the Gnostic gospel, the Gospel of Judas, that portrays Judas as a good guy, that portrays Judas as Jesus and being in cahoots to get him betrayed. We all know the the gospel of Judas is of the devil. And so is this near-death experience.